Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new NVIDIA daily update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over NVIDIA. Let's talk about what is happening to NVIDIA. Is the positive reaction today a good sign or not? And what we can expect moving forward. NVIDIA is actually up another almost 2% after hours off of Oracle earnings, if I'm not mistaken. I believe Oracle earnings is propping up the chips. Oh, wow, it's up 18%. That is pretty unbelievable. But yeah, so that's propping up the chips definitely a little bit there. But yeah, let's go over it. I'll give you my thoughts. If you enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. Not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. And of course, if you enjoy my technical analysis, thoughts in the charts, etc., well, again, I have a YouTube membership. That link is down below in the description. The link is there. Definitely check that out. For instance, right before the market closed, not that long, you can see right here, 28 minutes ago, right? About 10-ish minutes before the market closed, I mentioned how it's getting a more positive reaction here. Ideally, it closed above 170 on the daily today. And as long as we don't just collapse under 169, 170 tomorrow, yeah, I'll give bulls at least a short-term momentum here back to the 21 EMA near that 174-ish resistance, maybe even this week. We're already there. I mean, sometimes it happens that quick. You know, you can't predict timing, of course. Timing is the one thing I never try to predict because who knows? But guess what? We're pretty much already there. We're at 173 to 174 after hours off of that earnings pop. So sometimes it really is just that magical. So again, if you want to join, hey, that's all it is. Just $3 a month. And that includes all my Tesla updates, of course, Tesla and broader markets. Nvidia is included in the $5 USD a month. And then $7, of course, is included, or rather includes non-Tesla, non-Nvidia, and non-broader market charts that I share opportunities with. The best one so far was absolutely United Healthcare. I was sharing this with my members back when it was right around here in the low 300s, like 302-ish right here. This is where I started buying personally. And it's up pretty nicely since then. I mean, let's be honest here. You know, this trade alone is already up 16% in just like a week and a half. Hey, pretty good. So anyways, let's jump into it. NVIDIA, what is it doing, right? What can we expect moving forward? So yeah, obviously, taking into account the fact that it's up, handsomely, we'll say, another 1.5% almost, if you will, off of Oracle earnings. What is next for NVIDIA? Well, so why did I first of all call out that, why did I mention that to my members, right? Again, this was back when NVIDIA was still at 169.99, you can see pretty much 170. But why did I say that? Because it was getting a nice pop towards the end of the day. It started actually, you can see, I mean, unless something in the last 10 minutes, some catastrophic thing happened, it was definitely looking like it's closing above 170, which is good because, like I said, if it recaptures 169 to 170, if we start getting closures back above, that is bullish. But even earlier this morning, I was mentioning to my members the fact that the stock is falling quite a bit. Now, I still think it'll ultimately fall back to 150 eventually, but short term, it's fallen a decent amount, right? Again, you can't have a stock like this fall too aggressively, right? It's difficult. It's difficult to have a stock this big to just completely collapse like a small cap. It's not a small cap. It's actually quite literally the opposite of a small cap, right? So it's hard to get these stocks to do that. So because NVIDIA fell so much and because it wasn't completely collapsing here, which it should have, but it's not, that tells me the fact that, the sellers are getting exhausted a little bit, right? We're starting to see, the curling of the SMI, for instance. We have the Bollinger Band. If I bring out the Bollinger Band here, you can see it's at the bottom of the Bollinger Band. So there are certain signs that are starting to show to me the fact that, hey, you know what? It really wouldn't surprise me if the bulls do make at least a short-term comeback here. And that's kind of what I'm still looking at this as, a short-term comeback. So the question I'm sure is, what needs to happen for this not to be a short-term comeback? Maybe just a comeback, right? Maybe even go to all-time highs from here, which I still don't expect that, at least not yet. I'll give you what I need to see. But this is a good start for now. The things I need to see happen for me to start getting more bullish, like not just like the short-term bullishness, which pretty much already played out because we're pretty much already at my target of 174. But for me to, to go higher, to go meaningfully higher even, maybe even fresh all-time highs, and maybe even reduce the possibility of coming down here by substantially, a much longer period of time, which, again, I actually still think will come down there eventually. It's just a matter of when, not if, but that could be delayed by potentially quite a bit. What do I need to see? I need to see NVIDIA. I mean, number one, most importantly is, you really want to make sure this level continues holding, right? If we start losing 169 to 170 again, hey, I'd definitely be careful. That would be not a good sign. But I would absolutely want to see a retest and reclaim of about 174, give or take $1, 173 to 175. I'd want to see a reclaim of that because this was an area of resistance here. It was an area of support. And now I would expect it to be an area of resistance. So there is still a possibility that we come up here, get rejection, maybe get some consolidation here, and then maybe make our way down again. That is a possibility. Obviously, we'll take it day by day, level by level, pattern by pattern. But until I see NVIDIA either do one of two things, so in other words, again, reclaim this 174-ish area and turn it back into support, kind of like what it did right here. You can see resistance, got above it, and then turned it into support. Until I see something like that, I'm not fully bullish yet. I'm just this short-term bullish here, this short-term pop, because the stock was pretty oversold at the end of the day. And it's a big stock. It's, again, you can't have these stocks just, completely tank, just straight downhill, like just, beeline down like a small cap sometimes can, where they just go straight down, right? It's not the same thing. It's a different story when you trade larger caps. They're slower, but they're more consistent. They're quote unquote easier. So either that happens or option two, which, might take a little bit longer, but option two is, we do hold pretty nicely up here. And what we do is instead maybe form some kind of bullish pattern, bull flag, a bullish wedge. I don't really care. Some kind of bullish pattern, some bullish something, right? I don't really care what the patterns are. To me, it's irrelevant what the pattern is. I mean, they're all a pattern, whether it's a wedge, whether it's a flag, whether it's sideways action, like it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter to me. Ultimately, they more or less mean the same thing. Overall, it's just, you get it. Anyway, but the good thing about that will be the fact that, it'll happen while the EMAs are still bullish. Technically speaking, overall, the EMAs are bullish because they haven't crossed below the 50. Now, if we get a rejection, get down below, and then they start crossing below the 50, that's to me where the real red flags start to, really start to emerge, right? That's where I get really like, okay, now all aboard the train to 150, essentially. But for now, this is looking pretty good. We need to see this continue to be turned into support. We need to either see a bullish pattern develop in between 174 to about 169, 170, or get a reclaim above 174-ish right away, pretty much. So if those two things happen, or one of those two things happen, yeah, I think we'll see higher. And honestly, at that point, maybe a retest of 180 becomes the next target. Absolutely a possibility. Like 177, which is this fair value gap, up to 180. Then that becomes a very real target. Or this, unfortunately, will just be all she wrote, and then this ends up being a pretty strong rejection, and we head lower. We don't know yet. But in order for this to be a strong rejection, it's not just, it's not, if you see a reject there, which you probably will, it doesn't mean that it's guaranteed bearish. You have to understand there's a difference. It won't mean that, it rejected here, I'm shorting it right here, and it's going straight. No. What really confirms that, what really will make me convinced that not only is that rejection going to be a valid rejection, but like we're actually heading down lower, because we could just reject here, come down here, turn this in support, develop a bullish pattern, and head higher. Absolutely. What really convinces me, again, is 169 to 170. Losing that, that's where we start getting potentially, concerning looking signs, if you will. So again, one step at a time, guys, one step at a time. But yeah, that's kind of how I see it moving forward. In terms of the options, or in terms of the overall broader market, I'm going to make it very simple. Again, the more in-depth analysis for the broader market, I usually put on my Tesla video. Definitely check that out. It's at the end of the video. But very quickly, yeah, QQQ is still holding pretty nicely. It's still holding the mid 570s. It's still above the EMAs. We still have the stochastic. The MACD is almost about to flip. There's a lot of bullish signs for the market right now. But again, PPI tomorrow, CPI on Thursday, and we have a potential rate cut next week, which we don't know, 25 basis points, 50 basis points, maybe no rate cut, who knows? So next week could be a pretty volatile one, and I think that's maybe when we get a potentially bigger move in the market. But for now, short term, watch for 575. Above that, the bulls are still absolutely in control. Below that, we start kind of losing some grip from the bullish perspective, but below 540 is one, or 560 is where the bulls really start losing grip, and that's where the bears can really start regaining control more convincingly. However, on the larger picture, there is worth noting that we are still in the market making bearish divergences across the board, including on the RSI, which is a bit of a bigger picture. Now, whether or not that turns out into just being a sideways correction or an actual correction back to previous all-time highs, we don't know yet, unfortunately. But those levels will be kind of what will give us a better determination, if you will, on what to expect in that sense. In terms of Nvidia options flow, this is also what I shared with my members and why I was also bullish on a potential retest of 173, 174, something like that. I saw this pretty unusual call flow right here, 800K, 172.5 strike for this Friday. Someone was betting on a positive reaction off of Oracle earnings, clearly. They seem to be right. This was another reason why I was bullish, which is why I actually sold some pretty aggressive cash secured puts actually on Nvidia. And it looks like I'll be getting a pretty nice paycheck on those come open market tomorrow. So that's another reason. But all in all, yeah, bullish flow on Nvidia, definitely more than bullish than bearish. But that's all I got for you today, ladies and gentlemen. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.